Welcome to the Good Enough Gaming Podcast, where four elder millennials talk about all things gaming and nerdy. We dive into all the shows, games, and movies that we nerds indulge in. We celebrate our favorites and make fun of a few duds along the way. I'm your host, Kyle, and I'm joined by Jordan, Trevor, and Daryl. Here's a taste of what to expect on this week's episode. Sephiroth! Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Good Enough Gaming Podcast. This week's episode is a special one, and it's entitled Cloudy with a Chance of Materia. Imagine the world is plagued with overconsumption of natural resources and corrupt governments pulling the strings behind the scenes to further their own agendas and subjugate the general populace. It's a little too close to home, buddy.
Kyle's forehead vein is popping already.
I guess that's not so hard to imagine. But this is about Gaia, where we have Sephiroth breaking the rules of the Genova Convention. That's right. We are here to discuss Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the latest installment of the retold yet revamping remake. And now Rebirth is one of Sony's most prestigious and signature titles. Join us as we limit break this game down and the future of the beloved Final Fantasy franchise.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't Buster Sword your pants.
Let's go.
That was specifically for Daryl.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Welcome back. We are all in on Final Fantasy. We've been hearing about it. We've been building up to it. We've heard Daryl tracking the delivery of his game to his home. It's been a journey for us here, especially the ones that are in the group chat. To say that Daryl was fortunate enough, we are fortunate enough that Daryl peeled himself off his couch for an extended period of time just to be here with us is nothing short of a miracle.
You are welcome.
There's still a sweat mark on the couch.
Just an outline?
Yeah,
just a police outline?
Just a body outline.
It's going to bring in some crime scene cleaners just to spruce things up a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gross.
Right. I am a cleanly person, to be clear here.
Of all of the shots, if anyone can see this on YouTube, like maybe aside from Jordan, of all the shots here, like Daryl's is like fucking organized. My room's chaos. Kyle's is a bit of chaos.
I thrive in chaos.
Symmetry, order.
Yeah.
Democracy.
We like symmetrical things.
Yes.
So, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. This ain't my shit. We
know you are not diverse in what you play. We know.
Kyle does not have the time for JRPGs at all.
No, that's really the truth of it.
I only get so much time, and Final Fantasy is not on my radar.
We'll just hell dive into this with the rest of us, okay? And try to get through this.
I'll use what stratagems I can to make it through.
We're also spreading democracy in this game, so it's
okay. Parallels.
It crosses over.
Kind of like more like Greenpeace, like armored, like tactical Greenpeace.
It's still better than the dictatorship.
It's true.
Fair. So we're deep. I know Daryl's like deep into Rebirth right now. Yes. When did you start playing? First of all,
when did I start playing?
When was the first time you loaded up and actually played?
Well, the day that it came, I loaded it up into my PlayStation and got it ready. But I didn't actually start playing until a couple weeks later. And at this point, I'm 30 hours in, and I think I'm just about at chapter 5.
Wow.
I haven't skipped anything. I've been as on brand as it is for me. I am doing every single side quest, every little bit that I possibly can at this juncture in the game. That it'll allow me to, anyways. And going through it that way, and I'm enjoying the shit out of it. It's so good.
I think this is like the most I've seen Daryl text in the group chat, like consecutively when he was playing a game. You know, we
There's
get
a lot
like
there.
yeah, we get check-ins every once in a while. But this is like excited
There's some
Daryl.
points that like oh man, like some of the cutscenes are amazing.
Okay, we have to talk about that.
Yeah.
I can't I'm trying to think of other games that have just came out where we talk about, zero load times. You talk about Spider-Man, 0 load times. I don't know what voodoo magic they're doing over there in Final Fantasy. I've never in the first, I think I'm 6-7 hours into the game. This is on brand of like Baldur's Gate level cutscenes, maybe not the dialogue options, but like Baldur's Gate level, like everything gets a cutscene. There's no load screen. Like your character's just walking in, cuts to cutscene. Like it is wild.
Yeah. and
like cinematic levels, it is crazy.
Oh, it's unreal. And I can't believe how seamless the world works in this one because, I compare it to like Horizon or God of War. The maps on those games are huge. But the difference in this game is it doesn't have those like transverse through the crevice, like load the next part.
The
there was
shuffle.
one. There was one shimmy, and I laughed.
Load anything,
I laughed really hard because there was one. I was like, oh, there's a shimmy.
But yeah, I thought the same thing. And I was like, but it's not actually like nothing is changing. The environment isn't like, it's not loading into a new area. It's not like sanctioning you off into this one spot. Like it is literally when it's like, oh, you've reached this part. We're just canceling fast travel right now. And that little icon comes up, but there's no loading. It just seamlessly goes from one thing to the next, which I don't know how they're doing that with the map, the side, like the grasslands alone in chapter 2 is so fucking big. I don't know how they're I don't know how they're doing this.
The grasslands makes me want them to make a Pokemon game. Like that makes me like with the density of stuff and just how good it looks. I'm like, oh, this is what Pokemon could be if it wasn't on Nintendo.
On the Switch. Put it on an actually powered console and see what comes up.
It's so good. Everything is such high res. Like everything's pretty.
Yeah. It's a gorgeous game. Like that's the part. I feel like I've gone slower than like even normal for me because I'm just stopping and looking at the world they've created sometimes, or I'm high up on one of the mountains, or I've climbed like this hill and I'm just looking over and I'm like the water, the grass everywhere, like everything is so well done. There's so much care and detail in every part of the map. Like I'm shocked. I can't believe how visually stunning the game is.
I'm glad that you brought up just the smoothness and kind of the fluidity of the world, because that was something. I played the demo. I don't own the game yet, just to preface that. So I'm like, I don't know. The demo's what, 2 hours or something like that. But that was one of the things that I noticed right off the hop was compared to Final Fantasy VII Remake, traversing the world is a lot smoother. It's more enjoyable. Like there's less backtracking. There was being in Nibelheim in the town there. Like I climbed up the water tower and was just kind of looking around. And in the old game and a lot of Final Fantasy games, you've got to fucking go back and, look at the animation to climb down the ladder. And it's like, this is just tedious as shit. Whereas in this game, you climb up the ladder, you're on the top platform. And if you want to just go off, you just jump off.
Off.
And it's such a small detail, but it's like, thank you for not forcing me to go back to the ladder and look at that fucking
or you go to meet
again.
You go to meet Aerith at the clock tower and they're like, hey, you know what clock towers don't usually have? Let's put a firefighter pole in here so you can just get out of the tower. Thanks.
Just small things that are very appreciative. That's something that I noticed like almost immediately in the demo. So I appreciate that.
Yep.
And to further that, like the amount of fast travel that's now provided in the game as well that's not something that Final Fantasy VII had before. Like You had to ride the vehicles in the original game to get anywhere. Like, and you had to walk. You had to go everywhere with purpose and like use the sort of the tools that you were given. But now with the chocobo stops and like other major areas and just being able to fast travel to the city, like that is again another time-saving component to the game where you're not backtracking and doing the same shit over and over again. It gets rid of some of the tedious factor unless you want to like go through and treat it traditionally and then just like end up grinding, battles and materials and things like that. But I thought that was another huge facet. But just like Spider-Man, like when you go to load into the next stop, it's so fast. When you fast travel,
crazy.
Just basic quality of life things.
Oh
yeah, it's just nice when they respect your time, right? Like I'm assuming this game is going to be probably a 50 to 80 hour experience. Would be my guess.
It's higher,
like higher than that. So maybe 100 hours to.
It's apparently 100 to 150. So it's like in that range.
Oh boy.
So I mean,
and you're only 30 hours in?
I'm 30 in, and I'm like, I guarantee you, I'm hitting closer to that 150 mark.
Yeah, Daryl's going full completion.
Well, by the time you platinum and everything, 150.
When I platinum, it'll be closer to 200 because I'll have to replay everything on hard mode. So,
one of those trophies.
Fuck that. That's a Daryl trophy.
That's for me.
Yeah.
That's just for Daryl.
Dumb. Daryl, because you've played the original and remake and integrate and now this, like obviously you've got the most experience.
Yep. Nerd.
Fan.
Yeah. Kyle. Does the combat feel any different to you in this game? Because to me, again, very small sample size, but like even compared to remake, the combat does feel more fluid and like it feels less chunky than remake's combat, at least to me. But I don't know if they like made meaningful changes to that.
There are some small intricacies, I would say, that like they made some changes to. They even upgraded a couple things during Intergrade. So like there was a couple things that just got a little bit better in that game as well as when they put that onto PS5 as well. Like it just seemed more fluid than the PS4 like version. So but honestly, yeah, like it does feel a little less clunky. But I play with the traditional like side points. So like I like it when I can just control the ATB bar and kind of have that sort of classic style mixed with the new style. So I don't play like the brand new style, like full control all the time. I like being able to cycle through the characters easier and almost treat it like the original. That's what makes it feel sort of nostalgic for me. So it is broken up a little bit different through the different styles. However, you can still go full control through this one. But
maybe for our listeners, can you explain the difference? Because like I think I played remake in the active one.
Yeah.
Like,
so in the active
there
one,
is a traditional, but the traditional is not turn based, is it?
No, it's not. It's just got a component of it. So the action base, like the design for this game, like as it stands now, is every button you push is like what Cloud or Tifa or Red 13 or Barrett are going to do, and so you're like constantly in control and just waiting for your ATB bar to fill up to do an ability or like cast a spell or something like that, which is very reminiscent of the old game. The classic mix-in is you would say attack like at the top, and instead of just pushing square over and over again to fight, he's just going to do that until you change the prompt.
Oh.
So like you can go in and press attack for Red 13, and he's going to go in and he's going to attack and block until you make him do something else. Like or if like you're looking after your main person, it's just like push attack. The downside is you're going to constantly sort of take damage, where like those fights where you have to evade at the right time or get into the right spot to evade like the magic. Right. You have to hybrid yourself into like actually doing that in those battles, or you're you're screwed.
Gotcha.
So,
Because I think
it almost
think
turns
in the-
like management style then.
yeah, like a little bit more.
A little bit.
But again, I treat it hybrid. So like I play mostly as Cloud, but and cycle through and go through when I need other people, or like based off of materia and what's strong against certain enemies and stuff. But
Right.
essentially I'm just hybriding so that if I need to take a second to strategize or like see where the other guy is, I'm not worried about, I'm not doing damage. I'm just wasting time. Kind of situations like that.
is there not in the background? Can you not do sort of like what the hell? Which one is it? Final Fantasy 12?
Gambits.
Gambits.
So that's the gambit system, and then this one has materia like specific to that. Now
that's
there's
what it is.
yeah, so now there's auto cast and like precision attack and things like that, where you're setting stuff up so that the character will do their special moves and do their unique abilities without you having to switch to them, which is also like that's new.
Fucking awesome.
That wasn't in remake, so.
Okay.
That's huge. Like that's actually a wonderful quality of life piece. And so that you can hone in, like, so I have autocast cure on Tifa right now in my party. So like she has,
Can't let her go.
no, but like, so she's just going to autocast cure whenever anybody drops below 50% health, essentially. And
Sweet.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Handy.
That's super
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
I think Jordan, the other thing you're feeling, which I noticed, unlike in the original remake, there isn't that quick second of like, almost like in Pokemon where you get that like breakdown screen of like, here's who you're fighting. And then at the end, after every fight, you have to listen to Barrett fucking, drop the Easter eggs of like, da, 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 da. And you're like, fuck it, shut. It's cool, but like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
And so they just got away from that. So on each battle, you're kind of losing like 5 seconds on each half, like on each end of it. And I found that to be awesome because like you kill a thing, they're like, cool, back to Cloud. You're like, you're moving down the road now.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And just that little bit, it's like, oh, it's so nice. Like it's nice when they have the battle breakdown sometimes, but it's like, I don't need it every time in an open world game where I'm farming materials. I'm running around trying to kill people for experience. I don't need it every time. Like it's so unnecessary.
Well, and that's the thing, like especially when you're farming stuff, because you're gonna fight the same enemy in the same area 30 times, and it's like I don't need. Yeah, again, you're talking like maybe 15, 20 extra seconds, but over the course of 30 battles, that shit adds up, right? So it's just nice to speed that up a little bit.
Would it feel more meaningful if it was just after like a boss battle?
Yeah, like, and I think that's lend itself a little bit more to that direction as well. Like, I think some of those, like to Trevor's point, like the Easter egg, sort of the singing, or like
just the bigger fights have more of an intro to them anyways, right? If you're coming across a group of like orcs on the road, you can kind of sneak up on them. Like nothing really happens. Or just like, there's some guys over there. Do you want to fight them? Like there's kind of a warning system of like, hey, do you want to fight these guys? But it makes it super easy and convenient, right? It's not like the old games where you have to like stop the game, right? Like you get like some sort of like transition screen, and then you have a battle, and you're like, oh my god, like just get into it, let's go.
The random encounter thing, like there's a gripe for it, but I miss it. Like not the transition screen.
Oh no.
You want Zubats in this game in cave?
Geodudes Zubats all over the place.
Because sometimes it's like the chance that you run into something crazy, like
that's true.
So it's like you think that you're gonna fight some like venom rats, but you end up actually fighting a Marlboro, and you're like, oh shit! Like just those kind of things I miss. But honestly, having everything out in the world kind of since Final Fantasy 12 has been like a huge thing for them, and it's working really well for the franchise overall, I would say.
Now I'm curious your guys' thoughts, because I know in the Final Fantasy community as a whole, there is, I don't know if it's like a half and half split, but I know when Remake came out, there was a pretty vocal contingent of fans that weren't happy they were moving to like a more active battle style. and getting away from like the pure turn-based combat.
Yeah.
I have enjoyed the combat in the remakes so far, but a little part of me is like, you know, turn-based in this with the production value and like, you know, just the spectacle of what they do in these remakes, it would be kind of cool to have it in like a turn-based package. So a little part of me kind of wants it to be that, but I'm curious what you guys would want there.
Go ahead, Trev.
I'm split. Like I definitely see it where I'm like, it'd be cool. Like there's times where I think the biggest thing to me is like when you start to get leveled up and you get powers, it still forces you to like take damage and be smart. Whereas like in the classic games, with same thing with Pokemon or any of these like JRPGs, when you get turn-based and you start getting really skilled, it's like your whole team gets a turn. I mean, same thing happens in Baldur's Gate. Your whole team's going to get a turn. You're going to massacre whoever you're fighting. Yeah. And then you just move on. And you're like, right? Like, what was that? Like, it's cool that my team's like super high level now, but it doesn't feel like a fight.
The action economy of it.
Yeah. And like in this,
we're using D&D terms.
Yes. And in this sense, it still feels you're like, shit, I still have to dodge. I still have to like block. And I think it just gives you a little bit more input. Like with everyone's got their, like Cloud's got his like power strikes. And then you can like, you know, slow time to like get someone to shoot some fire at somebody, right? Like it just kind of, I think it just kind of picks up the pace in general. Whereas like there are games that do have a slower pace. And I think Final Fantasy is just trying to like, I don't know, keep with the times kind of thing.
Yeah, trying to evolve from that.
I agree. This feels like the stakes are high, almost like every fight, especially the boss fights as I've gone through like the major monster from the area, or like you hit that sort of pinnacle story point where you have to fight something pretty big. Like I have characters dying in the battle because I can't keep up with some of the like things that are happening and
noob.
But it just feels like it actually feels like there's a level of skill and it's intense and like things are hitting hard enough. You can't really grind and get too far ahead like you could in the original games where you're like, I'm just going to stay in this area until I'm 5 levels higher than what I need to be to go to the next one. So I can just clean sweep everything as I go through. It'll be comfortable. So easy. Yeah. You know, like this is going to be a breeze. You can't really do that. Like you could, but it's way harder to do in this game and like set up how it is. And so those big fights, like you leave and you're like, shit, like I have to go heal. Like my party is fucked up.
The funniest one, because I told Daryl about this, and this was same thing. I probably didn't read something. I glossed over everything. So I met Chadley, who, if anyone's played, he's a cyborg, right? He's like
he is, yeah.
So he's
like
cyborg.
AI.
Yeah. And so he runs the simulator, like essentially it's the X-Men fight simulator. And so you can do the different little side missions, but the first new summon, which I think they did this in remake as well, where you have to like beat the summon and then you get it.
Yeah.
So the new summon in this one is Titan, who looks like a fucking Elden Ring boss. He's just some big jack dude. And I'm like, oh, I'm about to get my shit stomped here. And then I tell Daryl, I'm like, man, I didn't expect to do well, but I got rocked. And Daryl's like, oh, did you collect the stones and weaken him?
It's like, what?
Fucking John Travolta over here. I'm like, what are you talking about? Stones?
So that's new to this one too. Like that wasn't in the last one. The last one is you just had to get to certain points of the story or like do certain side quests, and then you unlocked the battle simulator battle with the summon. But now you can like knock them down 3 pegs and have a decent fight against them and not like have sweaty palms by the end of it.
So bad. I was doing like 1 damage per hit. I was like, this isn't going to go well. I'm just going to end this.
Like, I feel like I'm not supposed to be here right now.
That's exactly, it felt exactly like Elden Ring, where I'm like, this area is not for me yet. Did I enter the wrong room? It's like, sorry, just close the door and walk away.
It's like the Homer meme of just like fading into the hedge.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, I'm just gonna leave now.
That's exactly what it was. I'm glad they added it because I'm like, cool. Now I know what this guy looks like. Yeah, I know what to expect, but I need to figure this out in a different way.
And you get rewarded for it because it's way easier. I can tell you, it's significantly easier.
Now, I think a question that a lot of us would have is loot and customization, because remake was pretty average. Is it the same, or have they improved on that a little bit?
I'd say it's pretty much the same in that regard. Like, and maybe because I haven't gotten enough gear yet, or I haven't gotten to the part where like there's more weaponry sort of available. But they have they changed the upgrade system from remake for everything too. So now you have like the volumes that you would get for each person's weapon in remake, like that's still there, but now there's like a different tree of skills that everyone can have. And like everything got reset too, for like the Buster Sword is like at its bare minimum of power again. And that was like, I have to get into that after in the second half here, but it is different. The customization for them is always sort of low, but like their costume doesn't change in the game, like in the original. And so
they're iconic.
Yeah. It's just what they look like. So,
and that is a Final Fantasy thing too.
Yeah.
Like,
overall,
typically most of their games, they'll do weapon changes, but costumes.
Well, if there's a costume change, it's for some important story moment, right? Yeah. You're winning the cross-dresser's ball as Cloud or whatever it is.
I'm dressed up as a patrolman right now in Junon, so yeah.
Nice.
It's for a critical moment, right?
Yeah, it's a critical moment, costume change. But yeah, I think there's going to be other parts with that kind of stuff, because like there's the port cities in this one and everything. So I know that some of that stuff will be there. But yeah, like the weapons are great. Like the design of everything is gorgeous as always. And you really notice some difference and some intricacies. I noticed the most in Barrett's weapons so far.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So like just the design of his arm gun is like amazing. The second one you get is really, really cool and really detailed and very different. So yeah.
Is he as annoying in this one as he was in remake?
Did they change his voice actor?
No, I don't think so.
No, okay. Maybe it's just like, I think he just has more like full sentences now. Like he just doesn't say like overly stereotypical, like just terrible, annoying shit. Where I'm just like, is that what he sounded like before? Yeah, just less of the consistent one-liners. Like, I can't remember if this is who it is.
He's definitely softer in this one. Like,
yeah.
Already he's got like a softer heart and softer dialogue. He's not as like kind of hard-nosed as he was in the first one. But I love the characters. I think the voice acting they got for everyone is like it's just spot on. And I just got basically to the part where they meet Yuffie, so I'm so excited to expand the roster and get to the next like areas to bolster the party and see what, because man, I can't wait to get to Sid and Vincent and like it's just it's so good. It's so good.
Vincent's my boy.
All right. Well, this feels like a bit of a logical place to take a break from our Daryl deep dive.
I can't help it.
It's okay. Last week was me and Jordan talking about rats. So
yeah, that's absolutely fair. So we're gonna take a shift here and go to our newest segment, wrong answers only.
Answers only.
Okay, so if you are just getting to us now, the concept of wrong answers only is just that. I'm going to pose a question or a scenario to the guys, and they're going to chime in and give me potentially like the worst possible answer. We're prepared. We're ready. I've given them the scenarios beforehand, just so
we're here for the quality content.
Yes, quality content. So
Something like that, yeah.
It's content. I don't know.
It's good enough.
Quality
content.
is a range, okay? There's a spectrum.
It's subjective.
Of quality.
Yes, we're on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first scenario tonight. Chris Pratt. Wow. Let's try that. Let's try that again. Our first scenario tonight. Chris Pratt is in literally every voice acting and acting role lately. What new movie or video game adaptation will he star in next?
Chris Pratt is grown up Caillou.
Oh God.
Just 2 hours of whining.
Oh fuck yeah.
The absolute worst.
That is not where I expected you to go.
No.
All right, I got a good one. Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, that's like actually that'd be good. Maybe
I could see that happening.
That
That's a
would
scary
work.
thing.
yeah, that actually would work.
All right. This summer, they're back. The biggest blockbuster action movie. But this time, they've come to hunt and they've learned our language. This summer, Chris Pratt is the Predator.
Oh God.
On the same blockbuster topic.
Oh my God.
They've decided that this wildly successful franchise needs a reboot. And who better to reprise the role of Jack Sparrow
Oh,
than Chris Pratt?
Jesus.
Savvy.
All right, this one made me sad to write it down, but I
Oh no.
but I think
That's
it's
the best one.
I think it's funny nonetheless. Chris Pratt will play in live action Mega Man.
Yeah, I was gonna make the joke if you didn't.
It hurt to write it down, but I was like, "Fuck, that would be so awful."
Continuing on with the success of the new movies and franchising, they decided in the next film that they would be able to read their internal thoughts, and Chris Pratt is King Kong versus.
Does he play
How is
both
he-
though?
Yes.
how is he swimming right now? What's he standing on?
Yeah.
How's he doing that?
Oh my God.
Where did the laser beams come from?
Look at these sweet mitts I got.
Yeah.
It's clobbering
All
time.
We're gonna file this one into the appropriation category.
Uh-oh.
With the absolute success that is the show Shogun. This summer, you can see Chris Pratt as Jin Sakai.
Oh,
I thought about writing that one down.
Last Samurai 2.
Yeah.
Starring Chris Pratt.
which is pretty funny because the guy that's in Shogun kind of like has a hint of serious Chris Pratt to him. You're just like,
God.
Okay, Trev, round us out with the first one, then we'll go to the
I got nothing left. All I had was
Nothing left.
Predator.
I've got an
where I
an
stopped.
honorable mention, and this one is purely fan service for Kyle. So Chris Pratt will play the clone soldier in Helldivers 2, so that we can see him get murdered on screen like
Again and again.
25 million times over the course of a movie.
They've made that movie already. Wasn't it like Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
That is true.
makes Kyle just as happy.
Mm.
Seeing Tom Cruise get murdered on screen.
Well, I mean,
That
after
sounds-
jumping on the couch on Oprah incident, I think it was.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's
All right. All right. Our second one for the segment. Madam Web is in theaters and flopping worse than Joel Embiid in The Key.
Oh.
Give me some titles
Fired.
that would have performed better in the box office.
All right, I got one here. The title of this movie is called Bob. And he's been in movies. Anyone here who is a fan of Deadpool will know Bob,
Just
the
Bob.
agent of Hydra. But this movie,
That sounds amazing.
follows the theme of like Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith, where it's just Bob
God.
down on his luck, and he just finally says fuck it and gets in with the wrong gang and just joins Hydra. Like, and it's just this following Bob from homelessness to Hydra agent who's like somehow friends with Deadpool.
This is the prequel series that nobody asked for.
It's the weirdest offshoot. Everyone's like,
but now I want that now.
Yeah.
That's not even bad. That's amazing.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to jump back in.
Yeah.
All right. This movie would perform better than Madam Web in theaters. This summer, Chris Pratt is Jack Sparrow.
I mean, it might do better. People would be curious.
It probably would do better. Yeah.
Well, so can we do like the
running away?
Sort of like Guardians of the Galaxy. Can we just turn that into like the Disney Space Atlantis, like the cartoon movie? Can we just do that? Like essentially just do Space Jack Sparrow.
Space Treasure Island.
Yeah.
That movie was actually
Treasure
really
Planet.
good.
Treasure Planet, yes.
It was good, yeah.
That was a good movie.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is. Just like a little bit.
All right. Now with the resurgence of the WWE this weekend with WrestleMania and The Rock coming back to wrestling, there is going to be a movie where he plays Samus in Metroid.
The Rock plays Samus.
Gender bent Samus.
This is not the way Disney does things, Jordan. This is not the right direction.
But the suit is still tight.
Of course. For everybody's sake.
Yeah.
Oh my Lanta.
Daryl, you want to chime in on this?
So I can only think of The Rock playing Samus, and the entire movie is just shot in side scroll.
Yeah. There you go.
I was just like, how much focus are they going to have on his butt in that suit?
Toys. He's wearing a schmedium
focus.
the entire movie.
A schmedium.
Some bike and some Tour de France shorts.
Yeah. All right, I got more if nobody else has any.
I had Star Wars Baby Yoda shorts.
Like
So
Baby Groot shorts?
Just a bunch of
Like the Groot ones?
Yeah, just a bunch of short films strung together about
I'd
Baby
watch
Yoda. Not even
I'd
a
watch
real
that.
movie.
No.
I would watch that.
Still better than Madam Web.
Baby Yoda Christmas special.
Yeah, sign me the fuck up. I'm in.
Okay. I'm going for sheer ridiculous. And you will know how much it pained me to write this down.
Oh no.
I'm curious.
Eternals 2.
Oh,
Lord.
shots fired. Shots fired. I guess if we're going that route, Morbius too?
That's the thing is that like hearing critics and people be like Morbius was better than Madam Web, and that is the bar is the floor.
Low bar.
It's because nobody in Madam Web said it's Morbin time.
Obviously.
Yeah.
There's your problem.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah.
All right.
Caught in a web of
right.
lies.
You know what we need is we need a remake to Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh no. No. Nobody wants that.
No, nobody asked for that.
Is that going to be with like Conor McGregor or
Could. Yeah.
Roadhouse?
or Jake Gyllenhaal? Like, is that who's taking over that role now?
Terrible movie.
That's what Jake Gyllenhaal should do is just go back through and
the
redo
80s.
all the Swayze
Everything.
movies.
He's just every Swayze movie. It's
Yes.
Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal is Dirty
Swayze.
Dancer.
Yeah. Oh
Oh boy, this went way
This
sideways.
fall, tune in as Jake Gyllenhaal is Ghost.
Can you imagine that movie now? Oh no!
My darling.
If you so much as hum 3 syllables of that Righteous Brothers song,
I swear to God, I'll come at you with everything I've got.
Shout out to obscure community references.
yes.
One of the
God, that
best
show was
episodes of that show.
Yeah.
So good.
Right.
Okay. Final. Anybody got any more final ones, or do we?
I do, but we'll move on.
Well, we're cleansed of our.
Terrible ideas.
Terrible ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So bringing it back around to Final Fantasy VII after that dumpster fire that was my segment. Daryl, I feel like you had some stuff you wanted to get off your chest.
Yeah. I'm sure more of it will come out organically as we get going. My first gripe is the mini games. Like in the original,
no blitzball.
Blitzball is okay. Fuck everybody that hates Blitzball. That's my favorite mini game like ever. I actually love Blitzball. It's so fun. But anyways, there's a new card game, Queen's Gambit.
Apparently they spent like a whole year like they were trying to do Gwent.
Yeah.
They were like, Gwent took off from The Witcher, and they're like, let's make a fucking Gwent game.
But what's funny is this is very reminiscent, and Jordan will know, like this is reminiscent of Final Fantasy VIII. Like, that is actually, that belongs in that remake. It doesn't belong in this game. Obviously, they're probably never going to do an 8 like remake because this project is gigantic and is taking forever to finish. So I don't see that it's going to happen. But I was just like, why? Like, what is that? I don't mind it. It's my favorite mini game in it so far. But what?
Why is this here?
Like, why is this? Why is this here? And the piano one. Oh my god!
If you thought playing the piano in The Last of Us was hard, yeah.
The guitar, yeah, fucking stupid.
This isn't a fucking rhythm game. Like, you don't need to put these like in the original game. You have to play the piano at Tifa's house in the memory and in real and like at an actual time in the game with the right tune, so that it unlocks part of the cabinet on the piano, and you can get like her final
spoilies.
Her final weapon. Like, you have to do that game is from the fucking 90s. Get out of here. But I was like, why am I playing sheet music for this old fogey? Like in Under Juno, like, I don't care about this. This makes no sense. And as somebody that wants to platinum like my favorite games or whatever, there's trophies attached to this, and I'm like, fuck this. I am not interested in doing this part. It's hard. It's not. It's actually, it's all
so hard.
It's all thumbsticks. It's the left and right thumbstick, and you have to do different directions in succession, and like you have to hit it perfectly. Like
someone has to explain this to Kyle. So on the piano, you have 2 wheels. Each wheel, like right hand, left hand. You then have to hit R1, L1 to change the octave of that hand.
Yeah.
And there's like, I think you can hit another button to do like major and minor keys. And each thumb wheel, I think, is 8 notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So to switch between that and potentially play a real song, I'm sure someone on YouTube has done it.
They probably,
I think it's
awesome. Good for them. But holy fuck.
It's fucking
awful.
I'm watching clips. I'm watching clips of it right now, and that looks infuriating.
It's disgusting.
Like Daryl's throwing controllers.
Yeah,
the guy was seething on the very first.
I think it would be easier to learn to play actual piano.
That's what I have basically come to the conclusion of. I'd rather learn the real piano than play this.
Can I USB my piano, my keyboard into the PlayStation?
God. The fact that they added this into the demo for the game, I was like, this is not a selling feature for me.
No.
Like if anything, this deters me from wanting to fucking buy this game. It's infuriating.
I sent you guys a link. It's people playing like other random songs on the piano.
And that's
just so I can trigger Daryl.
Yeah, I assume people would do that.
I can't. I'm already pissed off. I'm not watching it.
This is a larger gripe I have about JRPGs in general, and I've had this fucking rant with Daryl multiple times because we've played various other JRPGs. And can we be done with minigames, please? Like,
yeah.
At 1 out of every 10 JRPGs that comes out has interesting and legitimately fun mini games, and the other 90% are fucking terrible, or they're fishing games. And I don't give a shit about fishing.
What about fishing?
I don't want to do it. So like, can we just be done? Yeah,
it's been overdone. Like fishing is like been completely overdone. And I'm with you, but on the other end, I'm like, just lean in on one. Like let me play the game. Let me play the game that it was intended to be played. And like, yes, you can have these other things. And maybe this was like a better thing to save for when you get to Gold Saucer, which is like Final Fantasy VII's like amusement park land, essentially. Yeah. And it has arcade and everything. Yeah. And like, save it for like for that.
Like a cool Easter egg.
Yeah, like make it a fun side piece. It was in the original game. Like that's all it was. It was just like a fun like.
When like that whole area is where you're supposed to take your time. And that's the issue I have with a lot of these things is you're taking me from all the excitement and the fast-paced action. And now all of a sudden you want me to slam on the fucking e-brake and spend the next 45 minutes in one area doing a tedious fucking task. And that's what kills me about a lot of this. And like to go back to Gwent, the reason why Gwent I think was so successful is in The Witcher. That's the only minigame.
That's what I'm saying. It would have been fine if this card game was the only minigame, but it's not.
Like I agree with Daryl 100%. Take one minigame that you want to put a ton of development into and lean into it and just do that.
I'm in the third area, okay? There are chocobo races. There's the card game. There's the piano. There are Fall Guys-esque games that you have to play as a frog.
Oh God.
I'm missing something else.
I have a couple suggestions or solutions.
But like, so they're like, there's just I'm in the third area, and they just keep piling on these like. And then there's the command cue prompt hit it at the right time, just like the dancing thing in the last one, where like that floating orb is. No, like the floating orb is flying through, and you have to press the right button during the right part of like the dance number that he's doing.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, like there's that again, and yeah, just like shit like that. I'm like, oh, and the catching a chocobo is like.
Oh yeah, the Horizon Zero Dawn-esque sneaking through the grass to sneak up on a chocobo.
Which is fine. Like that's like whatever. That one's not so bad. But again, same thing. I'm like, these are all other facets. These are extra things. These are like extra programming pieces that you put into this that you could have saved this all time and just didn't fucking do that and gave me the game earlier.
Yeah. I think we need a bit of crossover. I think they should bring in Strike from Horizon.
Oh God.
Oh God, that's fucking
as
awful.
a guest setup.
No.
Okay.
I don't need Mario Kart level races in my fucking game.
No, not the races.
Well, I know. Horizon also had shitty racing in it.
That is the worst racing ever.
Okay. Alternatively, Trombone Hero.
Get lost. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Oh God.
It's the worst. Yeah. That's my big gripe on this game. Is just it was that I was like, there's too many mini games. It's too dense with the distractions. Whereas like you've made this beautiful game and maybe you've added on 20 to 30 hours of content with these mini games. Like overall, it's not necessary. I don't think it's a necessary part of the puzzle.
Yeah, I don't think people were picking up Final Fantasy VII because of the mini games before.
No,
it's not a draw for anybody really.
Yeah,
no. So that's my big gripe.
Now I'm curious, Daryl, what are your thoughts? Because I found it kind of interesting. It was a nice way to like explore and find stuff. What are your thoughts on the crafting?
Huge. Love it. Huge quality of life thing. Love that. Getting all the materials around. It makes it feel like you get rewarded for exploring every nook and cranny of the map. Now you're collecting materials to create items. You can make your own potions. You can make accessories and stuff. So now you're making your own bangles and like that is unreal. Like that's so cool to me that you can upgrade your armor on the fly anywhere. And just like able to upgrade those pieces and make them better and get more materia slots and everything. Like, oh, that's so handy and so nice.
Now, can you do that at any time or do you have to go to like a specific vendor?
No, you get it
You just
Everywhere.
craft.
You had this item transmuter, it's called, and you can make anything.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't have seen it, Jordan, because you just played the demo.
No.
But once you get out there, they're like, here's regular items, there's like slightly different items, and then there's like rare items, which are like labeled as gold. It's sort of like Horizon, where they've got kind of like a little like tag above them, and you just like hit triangle and you just pick them up quick as you run around.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna have to grind this out to get all these like specialty gold items. It's like, oh, there's 5 of them right over there. Like they're oh cool, right? And you just run around picking shit up, and awesome. Yeah,
And you can level up the transmuter. Like, so if you have enough stuff, you can create, like every time you make the item the first time, it gives you a massive jump in experience. And then it costs less to make it the second, like,
it's like Skyrim leveling. It's fucking awesome.
Nice. That's sweet.
So you're like, oh, I have enough materials to make these 5 items. I just leveled up my transmuter 3 times. Now I have access to new items to create as soon as I find these resources. And so you're essentially just like, keep going. And I'm ahead. Like my transmuter is like level 9. And I haven't even found any of the materials on some of the recipes that are there. Like
that reminds me of like WoW and like leveling up your blacksmith and your oh god, that's been a while since
stressing Kyle out. He's got to jump on. He's going to miss the raid.
Yeah.
What time are we jumping on, guys? Got to schedule the Discord chat.
Leroy Jenkins.
No, it was TeamSpeak back then.
Ventrilo.
Oh, jeez.
Vent and TeamSpeak. Yeah. Oh my god.
Anyways.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that sort of vibe.
Yeah.
Now, Trevor, you played the start.
Yeah.
And like, I don't really want to spoil this for Jordan.
Please don't, because for Jordan. Okay. Spoil for Jordan. I don't care.
But like, it has the beginning of this, because the last one has to do with like getting rid of fate essentially and forging your own like new your own new path.
Yes.
Oh, you're a dick.
I'm just wondering what you thought of like the first opening thing with Zach.
Okay, so we played. This is a thing. Once again, this is one of those games I play with my wife. Jordan, you're good. You're okay. So
oh my god! And then Sephiroth does what?
So when we played remake, like I played that with my wife. Just the story's so good. So we played that. In between, I did end up playing Crisis Core because I think we talked about it, and I was like, what the fuck's going on with Zach? Like, definitely a much downplayed game compared to this. Like, just graphics, everything about it was just like, okay, this is a PSP game, like up done for PlayStation.
Oh yeah,
yeah, definitely.
But same thing, you play through that, you're like, okay, I get Zach's story. Like, Zach dies like in the most tragic, epic fucking way ever.
One of the best endings in a Final Fantasy game.
It's crazy. And then so at the start of this game, you're now playing through all this stuff where you're playing as Cloud, but you remember if you're a Final Fantasy VII fan, you know that it's not Cloud. You're actually playing as Zach with Sephiroth going through Nibelheim. Sephiroth. And you're just like, what? Like, I'm just like waiting for like the time portal to open. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like that. And I'm waiting to get to a part. I'm sure it gets explained to me somewhere. I'm waiting to get to that part, but it's just like so confusing. Like, we watched the recaps. My wife's sitting there. She's like, I don't get what's happening right now. Like, she's like, are we in 2 different timelines? Is this like Lost? Are we on the island? Like, what is happening?
So I literally think when they beat, this is my theory, because I'm not even all the way in, but I have kind of like I'm hoping I'm going to be surprised. I probably am, but I'm wondering if I'm right. And I think what happened is when they beat Fate in Remake and they went through that like mass portal, and then they all of a sudden they're in Calm or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that literally split an event.
Yeah.
And it's like that was a major junction, like a canon event that could have went one of 2 ways. And so now there are 2 different like scenarios that are alive and well, essentially, and going on, that are probably at some point going to converge in the midst of this game. And where they got out of Midgar. Everything is pretty status quo to the true original story of the game that we're playing right now. And then there is one where Zack didn't die on the top of the hill when he saved Cloud, but when he got back, like he has like basically skipped forward a ton of time where he's at that, they're at that helicopter crash. Red 13 was the one that helped Aerith get free, but so he only goes and picks her up and takes her off to safety. And it's like, well, that party doesn't get together without Cloud. So where the
fuck's happening?
Where the fuck is Cloud?
Where's
and like
Cloud?
where like what is this?
But he dropped. But he also brought Cloud.
I know, right? That's what I mean. So I'm like, where, like, what point of this is like, did Zack just blip into this like new thing?
Confusing.
Yeah.
And how much of that has to do with Aerith? Because I think that she did something in the midst of that, like, because she's, you know,
damn ancients.
She's an ancient. So
Kyle's so confused right now.
I blacked out for a second there.
There's some time loop TVA shit going on, Kyle. That's the only way I can explain it for your Marvel brain. Like the TVA needs to step in. Yeah. This is part of Deadpool 3. The TVA comes and they kill Sephiroth. And it's
Sephiroth.
Wolverine claws Sephiroth. We're good to go.
So I literally think that Zack and Sephiroth have jumped in from a different timeline, and that's how Sephiroth is alive. That's how like Zack is alive. I think that they've been magically brought to this, and because they killed Fate, and Fate is like almost using Sephiroth and Zack as their champions to correct something. Like
so weird. Considering like Sephiroth is like, hey, by the way, I'm like an adopted like cyborg kid. I'm just gonna go kill everyone now. That backstory is also
baby. He's
also very confusing. He's just like, yep. He's like, I'm working for the bad guys. Like, no, murder everyone, make the planet green again. Just gotta shut it down. Shut it all down.
I'm still lost.
Like, I still can't get over the Greenpeace comment because it's actually so accurate.
That's funny.
Weaponized Greenpeace.
Green War.
Fighting for a better tomorrow.
If now I know it's very premature for Daryl and Trevor. I'm not even going to put myself into this group. But if you had to score it today,
2
for what you've played.
Oh, shut your dirty mouth.
What would you score it? Now, again, for listeners, this isn't a final score. Like, because nobody can give it an accurate final score, but I'm curious.
Nor is it a final countdown.
I'll go first because mine's gonna be less like full as Daryl's. Currently I'm at like an 8. Like I'm getting for the big one for me is like if you haven't gone and replayed any of the old one and like just came out and you're like, you know, 3 years later. It's a difficult game to get into. A lot of systems are different. There's a lot to learn. It's JRPG City.
Yep.
Like you got to prep, right? Like the first night I played, like Daryl said, he's like, give yourself 3 hours because you're not really going to get to like a good save point until you hit that mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
So far the story is just like mind blowing. And that's the thing is like, I'm just trying to like get through stuff and like get used to the system so I can figure what the fuck's going on. Because there's so many interesting things and like watch the recaps. They give you a ton of information, stuff that you might have forgotten or didn't even know about. That's my big takeaway. It's just like, make sure you're up to date on your Final Fantasy VII lore as it should be, because then it makes this game more impactful when you start playing and you're like, what the fuck is happening? And in like in such a good way where you're like, oh my God, like it was like the first season of Lost, right? Where everyone's just like, what's happening on the island?
Yeah,
like that's what it feels like.
This one is rewarding to read the information you collect. Like out of a lot of games that are like that are kind of filled with like the fluff, whatever. Yeah. This one's actually like has some viable information that give you some pieces and like indications of what's happening in that area, which is nice. I am an 8.5, kind of 9, somewhere in there. They lost me on the mini games, so I can't give it a 10. And there are some the other thing that I was kind of choked about, I won't lie, was I was hoping that all of my stuff from Remake was going to transfer over to this game. Like,
Did everyone fall in the river?
I wanted all my materia. I wanted my summons. I wanted my gear. I wanted the level that I had gotten to. Like, I wanted all of that up front and out of the gate, because I put in a lot of work into Remake and played the shit out of that and platinum that and beat everything on hard mode on that. And so like I was like, come on. Like, I got all that stuff to just leave Midgar and have it be worth nothing. So that was kind of cheese for me.
I do appreciate though when you start the game though, you are level 15 because you're not just level 1. Like you're
no, even though in the memory you're like level 30 or 40. Like,
also cool you get to play Sephiroth. Like that's a cool start to the game. And like, here you go.
It's also in the original though.
Is it actually?
Like, okay. Yes. So in the original, it like that's in the game, and it's like that's such a chef's kiss moment for me because that's
so perfect. Strong.
Oh, it is, and he's so powerful, and like you get and playing him in these mechanics is wonderful. Like
it's wild.
That is so good. So fun.
Sephiroth is essentially Melania from Dark Souls. Like he's got the most ridiculous katana. He's fast as hell. You're like, oh geez.
Well, that's I think that like establishes his strength then for you. You get to play as him. You're like, oh god, if we have to fight him, we're fucked.
Oh, like he's unimaginably strong. Like it's insane. He's miles ahead of Cloud. Like at that time.
I got major Devil May Cry vibes from that, because like it's the same thing with Virgil, like Dante's brother. If you ever play him in any of the games, he's like powerful as shit.
Yeah,
and it's the same kind of feeling with this. When I was playing Sephiroth, I was like, oh fuck, like this guy can mess.
It's so fun.
Yeah, it was a really cool.
Weirdly, it reminded me of like the first mission in every Need for Speed game, where they're like, "Here's this really sick car you don't have. It's about to get taken away from you."
Yeah.
You're like, "This is how cool I could be.
I will be one day."
Yeah.
Here's your Miata.
Yeah. Hey,
here's your Toyota Camry.
That's the best car by the end of the game.
Yeah, the Miata fucking flies.
No, like. But the other parts of the game are what save it for me. The story is incredible. The cutscenes are like immaculate and amazing and just beautiful. The landscape of the game is gorgeous. The load times are like basically nothing.
Zero.
The ability to change your party members and all that. The menu is clean. Everything is like laid out kind of where you think it should be. Like. Functionality wise, the game is a 10 out of 10. Visually, the game is a 12 out of 10. Like,
I can't believe what they accomplished, like even compared to other games.
Yeah. I appreciate that these aren't one-to-one remakes. And I'm sure I said the same thing about the first like remake. Like the fact that they have tried to actually change the story in meaningful ways. And for the people like Daryl and a lot of others who like Final Fantasy VII, the original, is their favorite game of all time. Like for them to come and play this and be surprised and shocked by a lot of the narrative changes, like I appreciate that for you guys, because it's cool to see your mind still being blown away because you're expecting it to go this way, but it pivots and goes the other way. Like
everything's just so much
cool.
Further in depth. Like it gives brevity to like the things that when I was younger, that I would imagine happening in that universe and playing that game. And now it's like, I'm living it. Now I'm playing it as if I'm playing this very intense and well-written and orchestrated story. Like it's really good. I highly recommend it. Everyone should pick it up. Yep. It's an excellent chapter. I can't wait to keep going.
You get to put armor on giant chickens. I mean,
yes, you do. You get to armor your chocobo. Cool. You do get to do that.
An evolution.
Well, I don't think, like, depending on how this goes, because I don't know if chocobo racing is in Gold Saucer or not, but like, you don't have to breed.
Count on it.
You don't have to breed the chocobo to get the black, like, mountain crossing chocobo. Like, it's in the next area. Like, when you get to the next area, like, you get the chocobo that can climb mountains. Unreal, because all that, like, catching those things with greens and stuff in the original was dog shit. I hated that in the original game. So this is way better.
This one you just got to sneak up on it.
Yeah.
Speaking of sneaking up on us,
Kyle's got to poop.
Wrap up the episode.
Just prairie dog.
Go.
Got a
No,
I got a 2-inch grip on an 8-inch turd.
I feel like if I don't stop us now, we're gonna go for another hour and a half.
Correct.
And as much as I love a 2-hour podcast
later on.
Yeah, well, we will definitely have a follow-up episode. We'll have a whole ass like check-in episode on a whole bunch of games probably.
We probably should do that.
I would love an episode that's a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Final Fantasy 16. Because I love
I gotta play that
Final
game too.
Fantasy 16. I adore that game.
That's next on my list. So
yeah, right now I prefer 16 over this one. But again, I haven't played Rebirth enough. So.
Your mind might.
Oh my
change.
god. Stop opening a new can of worms, god damn it.
I apologize, but that would be a good episode.
All right. Speaking of good episodes, guys, I have a bit of something to confess.
Uh-oh.
I might have podcast cheated.
Oh no.
Son of a bitch.
How dare you?
Our good friends at Dork Matters invited me recently to talk about pirates. And if you recall from our episode where we had them on here, pirates came up quite a bit, and Ben and Lexi wanted to bring me back to talk more pirates. So I did it.
Kyle's got a huge man crush, so it makes sense.
That's true. If you go back and watch that episode, there is some bosom friendships being formed.
Yeah.
So that being said, if you are interested in hearing me and Ben and Lexi ramble about pirates and that sort of thing, I believe that episode's up in a week or two on the Dork Matters podcast.
Is it anything specific about pirates, or is it just pirates in general?
Actually,
pirates
we
life
talk
for you, or
pirates. We talk about pirate history a bit. We talk about pirates in media and the draw of piracy, not like the current digital age of piracy, which is for good reason. But it's sort of a deep dive into all things pirate.
Cool.
Yeah. Even funnier, I saw a pirate metal band on the weekend, and it was right up my alley. It was amazing.
2 peg legs out of 10.
I think that's an 11. Daryl, that's an 11.
That's an 11. I just figured I would plug that quick before we wrap up here. But once again, thank you all for tuning in to listen to Daryl have an absolute nerdgasm everywhere for Final Fantasy VII.
You're welcome.
I'm
Rebirth.
here for it.
Yeah.
Tune in next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave comments, answer the weekly question on Spotify. Whatever works for you. We just like to interact.
DM us Final Fantasy questions.
Stump the Daryl.
Yeah.
Mostly for Daryl, but DM us.
All right. I think that one was good enough.
Good enough.
Good enough.
Good enough. Sephiroth.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for more content. We also invite you to write an email or join us on Discord to talk about anything from our episodes or something else you would like to discuss in the future. Please subscribe to the Good Enough Gaming podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you listen to your podcasts. And remember, we might not be great, but we are good enough.